All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like it's been a little while since we did webinars. I feel like I've spent all my time doing CEUs. So this is kind of exciting. It's especially exciting because we're all so excited about our latest addition to our product line. So thank you for joining us. If this is your first time spending time with Frosh, let me tell you really briefly who we are. We're an acoustical company located in Grand Prairie, Texas, which is outside of Dallas, Texas. We are a manufacturer of acoustical products. We make things for the ceilings, for walls. We make acoustical lighting as well as acoustical dividers. Everything we make is made out of one material only. That material is called PET felt, which is a recycled material made out of plastic bottles. All right. So my name is Slavi Nightingale. I am one of the co-founders of Frosh. Again, so excited to be with you guys here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. What are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about something that doesn't get enough attention from PET producers in general, which is the closed-plenum solution. We will go really quickly over a review some of the products that you might be familiar with or might be completely new to you, and we'll spend the majority of our time speaking about our latest addition, which is FAZR, as I mentioned. All right, so first Vibe, we'll talk about that really quickly, PIXL, and then Stratawood 2x2, which is the new edition of Stratawood, and then, as I said, FAZR. All right, so what is this whole thing we've been obsessing over right here at Frosh? Well, for the last 2 years, we've been thinking about how do we provide you guys, designers, some options other than white tile for the drop ceiling or closed plenum ceiling, right? I feel like the felt folks in the marketplace do a fantastic job for open plenum ceilings, right? You get baffles and clouds and all kinds of like very organic looking things and things like that. However, majority of ceilings are still closed plenum ceilings. So the moment you have to go to a closed plenum ceiling, you have a white tile as an option and nothing else, right? Not a cool thing. So how do we change that? How do we give you guys option where you can still zhuzh up and make the ceiling better, and maybe the open plenum ceiling is just not the right option, or also it's maybe not budget friendly for what you're doing. So very first thing I'm showing you is our Vibe series. These are molded pieces that you're probably quite familiar with. They're 2x2. They fit perfectly into 15/16 T-grid ceiling, which makes them very economical. They just install very easily. These are just different shapes. The idea is exactly the same. This is literally just the look that you're going after. Cliff is the last one of our originals. And the one we've added the latest, which actually ends up being the most popular one, is coffer. I guess coffer ceilings are back, people. What is also awesome about coffer is that it can be installed with the inset side up or inset side down, right? So it has two different looks, and you can actually also mix and match between the two. So you can get very different looks, right, based on the colors you choose and how you install it. As is true with all PET, but specifically with this one because it has a flat top, the cutting around obstacles is extremely easy and super simple. The other thing that happens with coffer is that the way it's shaped, it actually is very good for wood grain prints. If you heard me speak before, you know I have mixed feelings about printed wood grain. Like, I don't like when things pretend that they are what they're not. However, I love wood grain for the ceiling applications, right? Because it is far enough from us, therefore it will read as natural wood. Plus, you get the acoustical performance of PET. If you've noticed, everything here rates NRC1, which means perfect absorption. Here's a quick video on how do we install it. All right, super simple. And that's what's so beautiful about, you know, you're probably thinking, why did they bother doing actual animation? Because it is so simple. It's just you can share with your customers to show them that really the process is very easy. By the way, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them either in a chat or question section, and at the end of the presentation, we'll grab them, read them, and answer them. So just because you guys are all muted, it's a little hard to do it with so many folks on. PIXL is our next one. This one fits perfectly into 2x4 T-grid, right? So a little different. If you have not heard about PIXL, which I would be shocked if you haven't, but really quick review, right? What is PIXL? It's the 9mm PET board with these poofs in front that actually creates sort of this pixelated look. Why is this special? It is because it performs, the poofs in the front actually weaved looser than the board behind, and also creates additional thickness, which means you actually get really incredible performance as far as acoustics. And I'll show you a chart of what that looks like. So PIXL comes in these two different color options with two different shapes. You know, you can go square or circle, you can go white or gray, or if neither of these neutrals work for you, you can print on the material, right? And so with PIXL, it looks really, really cool printing, but you know, honestly, the white is my favorite. So why am I saying that it's the poofs are important here, right? So it's the mixture between the board and then the loosely weaved poofs in the front that gives you this exceptional absorption. This product actually works best out of all the PT products in the marketplace. If you have been looking at NRC reports, which you might not, maybe that's just a thing that I spend my day doing, most of them look like what you see here on the walls, even for ceilings. What that means is that PET in general is very good at absorbing the middle frequencies, which middle frequencies are the frequencies of human speech, which is usually what you want to absorb. But what is really beautiful addition with PIXL is that it actually absorbs beautifully across all frequencies. Actually, matter of fact, when I first saw this this chart, I had to call an acoustician to explain it to me because I've never seen one that just kind of lives on top, right? So what does that mean? It will absorb those low frequency hums and industrial noises, as well as the really loud, high pitch stuff. So there's a solution for you that really stands out across others. What does it do? You know, again, super install 2x2 T-grid. You know, how can you change? And honestly, the photos don't even do justice. We had the 2x4 ugly ceiling here in the office, and we replaced it all with the PIXLs. It looks amazing. The pictures don't even do justice. You guys have to, if you get a chance to take a tour of our place, you have to definitely come check it out. It really changes the look. And again, we're talking about 2x4 T-grid, one of the cheapest options you can do for ceilings, right? How do you, revamp existing space or really do something cost effectively? I touched on the fact you can print on the material. This is sort of what it looks like if you do color. Here we just kind of picked several different green Pantone colors to sort of create kind of that biophilic green space, right? But even just the white thing looks fantastic. So let me show you a quick video of the installation process. All right. You probably noticed this in the installation of PIXL, the tiny difference with creating openings for obstructions or lights and sprinklers is that the poofs are removed, and actually you can pull those just by hand. So there's no special tools needed. You just kind of open it, you just pull off the ones that you will need in the space where you need it, and then you do traditional cutting, which with PET felt sharp box knife actually will do the trick. All right, Stratawood. Stratawood has been, I would call it the superstar of 2023, probably also 2022. It has been an extremely popular product for us. So you've probably seen it. It's the plank product that it was intended for walls, right? It came in 2 foot by 8 foot pieces, and it would attach directly to the wall. What we have actually learned directly from you designers out there is that designers start cutting it, right? They start cutting it and putting it into a T-grid, right? Again, amazing idea of how do you create cost-effective, also acoustically well-designed wood ceilings, right? The problem when you cut it yourself is that you don't get that perfect lip all around, right? So they had to finagle how to fit it into the T-grid, right? So it's like, okay, wait a minute, this is something we can easily solve for you guys and create a product around the idea that can fit perfectly into a T-grid, without any changes. So really quick, like what is Stratawood? If you're not familiar, it's a real wood veneer on the top, backed by MDF, and then you have the PET 9mm sheet on the bottom, right? So when it's installed, you kind of really, it reads like plank wall, which is quite popular, right? And sort of one of those things that is really in all the time. So as far as offering, we had picked 4 most common or most popular wood grain and wood backings to keep in stock. So the bigger photos you see on top is 4 combinations that we keep in stock of, like I said, of the 2x2. You do still have access to really everything else. There's just longer lead time, and there's a bigger minimum requirement for the things we don't stock. But I think you guys kind of will like what we've done. Some super light, some medium, and a little darker pieces. And like I said, talking about creating ceilings, wood grain ceilings, very interesting ceilings at really easy things. Here's a combination of if you do this regular Stratawood on the walls and then, do the Stratawood 2x2 into a T-grid. And I've seen actually designers that actually did it before we created, play around a lot with painting the T-grid. Also because the wood actually falls below the T-grid, the majority of the attention goes on the wood. So it actually really looks very, very lovely. This is exactly just different applications of how you can go about it. So here's a quick install video. You're probably gonna be sick of these simple install videos, but I think the message is gonna be straight, that the point was to be simple, right? So here we go. Okay, review complete. All right, so FAZR, right? So what is it? It's a little different. You're not gonna hear me say T-grid. Has nothing to do with T-grid. They actually are approaching this in a different way. The official description is that FAZR is a superior acoustic solution comprised of PET 9mm dovetail channels that clip onto the rock-fawn symmetrical carrier system. You know what? Let's stop reading. I'm going to show you. Right. By the way, it's patent pending. It's so cool. We got it patented. I hope you think it's cool. We think it's amazing. All right. So what is it? What is FAZR really doing? So if you think about large application metal ceilings, right? The linear metal ceilings. So what FAZR essentially is we took the idea and the hardware that's behind metal ceilings, and instead of using metal, we are using PET felt. So what you see here is a close-up of what a rock-fawn carrier system would look like. The reason we picked, and by the way, every big ceiling company has their own version of this. We've chosen rock-fawn just because of its simplicity. So this is already existing piece, right? So the hardware. So what we've done, we have created essentially pieces that mimic how metal works with proprietary hardware or extrusions that actually perfectly just clip into the system. Those of you guys that are kind of really more on the ceiling side of things, you probably could explain this better and know exactly what I'm talking about, right? It's just a really common metal ceilings, like when you think about airports and schools, a large application, that's sort of what you see, right? So here's kind of where you have two options. You can create this as partially open plenum option, which means you insert the trapezoids into the extrusions, and you skip the filler piece that is the secondary trapezoid that actually just slides in, and you'll be able to see what that looks like. I'm going to show you a video of Gary being interviewed about this, as well as video of the installation that will make it a little more clear. But in a nutshell, you've literally just clip these in that you see on the left, and then if you want a completely closed ceiling, these just slide in and create a complete look. So here's Gary. If you don't know Gary, Gary's a co-founder at Frasch. He's also our a mad genius and lead product designer. So here we go.
You know, we like to be a little creative even with our names, and it's spelled FAZR, so we took the sound pronunciation of FAZR and shortened it to FAZR, but that was the inspiration.
That's cool.
Yeah, we use a material called PET felt. It's a thick material that has acoustical qualities, but you can do a lot of stuff with it, cutting it, folding it, bending it, just making it into cool geometry. And the challenge has always been, particularly in the ceiling world, is how do you hang this? How do you clip it on? And to make it super easy for the installers, the people that buy it, make it super easy for the architects to spec it in. So yeah, so in the ceiling world, you have what's called an open plenum and a closed plenum. So this room here is actually closed plenum. That means everything is covered. What you have out there in the hallway is open plenum, which is super popular right now because everybody kind of likes that industrial look. But you know, not everybody wants that exposed, all your ducts exposed, and all your lights and wires exposed. So this product right here is actually a closed plenum solution.
Okay.
And yeah, so if you can imagine, this is just a small little mock-up of it, but these come in 8-foot planks and will clip up into this carrier up into a ceiling. And actually what's cool about this product too is we also stock the linear LED lights. So if you can imagine an element like this would be replaced with a light. Here. So yeah. So once the mock-up was done, and I looked up, there's these cool straight linear lines, and the lights were kind of scattered throughout. So the basis of the design is the carrier, which we buy from Rock Pond. But the way we clip onto that carrier is with this 120-degree trapezoid that clips onto these hooks here. So you get this effect. And then the opposite of that are these 60-degree. Rather, this is 60-degree, this is 120-degree.
Okay.
So these just dovetail into that. So when you put something like this up in the airport, up in the school, every once in a while, you will need accessibility, changing out air filters, or something goes wrong up in the ceiling. You want to be able to take these down and put it back up when you need to.
All right. This was, by the way, this was cut just so, so it's not too long for this application, but we will send you a link to a full interview where you can, Gary also explains his shirt. If you're curious what his shirt says, and some of the things were actually cut out where it says the inspiration behind the name. So I guess you need to watch that to actually hear the rest of it. So visually, here is what the outcome is, right? This is with closed-plenum, therefore you're using both versions, the one that clips on, the one that slides in to create this. Again, you'll have ability to do all your vents, as well as Gary mentioned, there's included lighting. Here is a look when you don't use the filler pieces. Here's a close-up, right? So this is a partially open plenum ceiling, right? So it's a little different application, a little different look. Just like all PET, you can also print on this PET as well. So this is actually my favorite, right? Like oh my gosh, guys, we can create really cool wood plank looking ceilings, right? That actually absorb sound. How awesome is that, right? So it's pretty darn special. Then installation. So one more thing, again, really quick installation. This one probably pay a little more attention because it is different. I know Gary explained it. I tried to explain it. So this is kind of brings it all together, and hopefully you guys will be in love with this as much as we are. All right, pretty cool, right? So what I saved for the end is to just really quickly go through the benefits of FAZR over metal ceilings. Some of the stuff I've touched on, some of it not. The obvious one is performance, right? It's acoustically superior to metal. Metal is a hard surface, right? So therefore it reflects sound. It doesn't absorb sound, and PET absorbs sound. So right there, when it comes to acoustics, it doesn't compare. Installation. So I'm not an expert of metal ceilings, but from what I understand, the metal ceilings, when they get installed, because they're made out of such a thin metal, they can get bent. You end up with lines, so you have to be very careful about how you install it. You don't have this issue with PET, right? It's sturdy enough where there's no concerns about bends. Adjustments in the field, super simple, as we always talk about. Sharp box knife will get you there. Just mark what you need around sprinklers, vents, and all of that ongoing things. Ongoing maintenance, which Gary touched on. From what I understand with metal ceilings is there's sections you have to remove in order to get to different things, right? You can't just be like, oh, I will need to be right here, therefore I will remove this piece. It's connected in a way where you have to usually take more stuff off. And again, like I said, if you're taking more stuff off and the metal is bendable, you know, there's more chance that there'll be dings and little lines and things like that. With FAZR, you can remove exactly the piece that you need, right? All the pieces, if you know your maintenance thing is right here, you just remove the pieces from there. So this is a big deal. Also, the last thing is a lot of metal ceilings do not have a integrated lighting. We have the integrated lighting that you can absolutely use and get a complete solution, including lights. I got a message that you cannot see my screen anymore. Is that true, guys, or are you fine? Looks like it's okay. Okay, and this was actually our last thing that we had as far as FAZR. I hope this was super helpful. If you don't know who your sales rep is, definitely check out our website, get that, because all of our sales reps are have all the sample boxes already in hand. They're going through the training right now, so they can tell you exactly what it is. And I hope we can do some amazing projects using FAZR. So let me see as far as questions. I see we have some right here. Does grid phase we've done, so the question is, what kind of T-grid, the 2x2 T-grid you use? It's a 15/16 T-grid, is that's what our products fit for. There's another question about able to use magnetic pieces. We do those as a custom product. It does increase the cost. It's much more complex, so we don't have it as a general offering, but if that's really what you need for your application, absolutely send it our way, and we'll get it going for you. Do you have plans to provide PIXL ceiling with a CAC rating for sound attenuation between rooms? Probably not. We are kind of in the we're in the PET world, which we primarily promote and focus on reducing reverberation. We don't anytime you reduce reverb, you also reduce how much, since there's less energy, how much transfer there's between the rooms. But we don't focus on blocking, right? We don't focus on transfer between the rooms. So probably not. What's the plenum height you need to install PIXL? Okay, so it doesn't matter, right? Whatever requirement is, the PIXL itself is only, I believe, 2.5 inches. When you install it, only the poof is that goes below the T-grid. So as far as height, you really, and I hope I'm understanding the question correctly, is really just have to think about that it will hang below the T-grid only maybe like an inch and a half. Can the ceiling panels bend if you don't have the plenum space to install? I'm not sure I understand the question. Usually, when we're talking about T-grid, what usually happens, you actually turn it on an angle, put it through the T-grid, and lay it down. So there's always should be room. If you're doing the side pieces, there's a couple different things, but as we've shown you, you can cut the pieces into a space. Or sometimes what we actually do, which other people like better, is we provide the same color flat PET felt for the side pieces, so you don't have to really worry about how the end will look like, especially if we're dealing with the molded three-dimensional pieces. If you're thinking about, if you're asking about how you would bend using the FAZR, you really wouldn't have to do this. because you cut it, like if you're coming to an edge, you cut it to the size you need, and you just install it from the bottom and you snap it in, right? So there's no need to kind of go around obstacles. So that should be, I think that should be fine. Question about PET, if it's recycled or first time use. It is recycled PET. It's made out of 55% is post-consumer recycled product. The remainder of it is virgin original PET, and that's pretty much what you see in the marketplace in general. Honestly, the background behind that is that in order to offer all these colors, we do have to include some of the virgin material. If it's 100% recycled, we would just actually have one shade of gray for you. So that's kind of how that works. If there's any other questions, let me know. I think I kind of got them all. I hope this is helpful. I know a bunch of you guys have asked for a copy of this presentation, so we certainly will do that. So you'll have it for your reference. Again, you can get our samples, discuss FAZR with our sales reps. Also, a material bank can get you the swatches for the product. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening, and hope to work on some awesome products with you in our projects with you in near future. Have a good one. Thank you. Bye-bye.